Hello and welcome back to another episode of a reading of the White Album 2 light novel series. We are currently reading through Volume 1. So, last thing that happened was Ogisa Setsuna kind of convinced Kazusa to join by threatening to tell Haruki about her crush, which, one, she never even really admitted, and two, is kind of unbelievable, but the blackmail was there, so she said fine. Then they ended up going and having dinner at Setsuna's house, and now here we are outside of the house just after the dinner. All of which to say, though I had worried before we began, Ogiso's own support proved that fear groundless, and we reached a splendid victory. And, as they seemed to like us a bit, we were even amiably invited to stay for dinner. What the hell is with that family anyway? Don't say that. They're good people. Maybe a little more cozy and domestic than most people would be used to, but it was way creepier than I expected, Toma muttered with a repulsed look on her face. As I was working to convince them, she had just sat next to me going, yeah, or mm-hmm, every time the discussion turned to her. She had looked extremely awkward. All butting into each other's lives, concerning themselves with everything, talking about everything together. They think that's normal. I don't get it at all. I almost told her not to talk like that, but I didn't. I wasn't exactly in any position to talk when it came to other people's families either. I could see why Kazusa would be kind of repulsed by it. And we'll get into Kazusa's home life as well, but Setsuna's home life is extremely domestic, extremely close, like that poster family, one girl, one boy, two parents, middle income. It's just like the perfect family. But it's just like a band if you think about it. You have to have a relationship where everyone is concerned about everyone else. Listen. Toma, are you really joining the light music club? That was what I didn't understand. Yesterday, she had left in a fury. What had changed her mind? Ogiso could have caught up and said something to her, but Ogiso hadn't told me anything about it. Maybe I won't. Wait, please, I'm begging you. Shut up, you're so pushy. Toma sighed. The night breeze carried it off. All right. I'll quit asking questions. Not like I could say no anyway. Huh? Listen up, Kitahara. Toma suddenly fixed me with a glare. I don't give a damn about what happens with the Light Music Club. I'm not going to help you with anything that's doomed to fail. The moment I think there's no hope for it, I'm leaving. But she continued, since I agreed to do it, I'll do it for now. Aww, she's in it. It's official. She's told Setsuna and Haruki that she'll do it. Toma spoke with a thoroughly burdened air, but there was something easy in her tone of voice. Toma. She had truly, officially joined our group. I still didn't really know why, but the point was, my neighbor had become a club member. She was going to be in our band. Yay! The moment we've all been waiting for. A week before, I couldn't have imagined it. Thank you so much, Toma. Thank you. Shut up and die, Kitahara. So brutal. Toma spoke in irritation, but she could say whatever she wanted. Right at the moment, because of her, I was deliriously happy. Just so we're clear, from this point until the performance, you will do absolutely everything I say. At the very least, this band has to become something that can perform in front of other people without embarrassing itself. Yes, anything you say. As I walked toward the station, I clenched my fists tightly. Today, I had managed to gain so much. All at once. A new member with genuine talent. Permission from Ogiso's family to rehearse. A rehearsal space, music room number 2, that we could use every day. The sense that we were really and truly on the way toward realizing this performance. And, hey, Toma, since we're in the same club and everything, we could need to contact each other for something, so if I could maybe get your phone number or... Toma screwed up her face for a moment, which made me think the answer was no. Then she handed me her phone. You do it, she said. He asked for a phone number. That's so adorable. I know he didn't mean it to be like flirting, but it's very cute. Huh? Me? You don't have to. No, I will. I hurriedly exchanged our addresses through the infrared connection. When I handed it back to her, finished, she accepted it curtly. Maybe she didn't know how exchanging addresses worked? Oh, that's really sad. What? Oh, no, nothing. And so, I had gained one more thing. Kazusa Toma's contact information. Good for you. Moving up in the world, my boy. So, moving on to our next part, we are at the White Album 2 Light Novel, Volume 1, Session 8. Chapter 2, Introductory Chapter 1. Session 8, 16 days until the show. 16 days, can you believe it? Haruki's Peace. So, anyway, the next day, Thursday, after school, the Light Music Club was gathered in Music Room number 2. This is Kazusa Toma, our new member. I guess you already know her, but... No way, Takeya said, seeming half amazed. Haruki, you finally surpassed me. No, that's not... Was that all he ever thought about? Probably. Considering his reason for not coming to see the Ogiso family the day before. Toma, this is Takeya Izuka, our club chief. I guess you already know him, but... Toma's face was blank. Oh no. Hey, good to have you here. Then she glared at him. What an awkward atmosphere to have between band members. Then again, it's hard with Takeya not to have an awkward atmosphere considering he's with a new girl every other day. Takeya slowly took a few steps back. Evidently, he still wasn't sure how to handle her. This was not a promising start. Well, anyway, we have our full lineup now, so let's make this happen. Full lineup? Kitahara, did you even hear what I said yesterday? Toma turned her glare on me. I wished she wouldn't make that face. Takeya would just get spooked again. Well, maybe not a full lineup, but we've managed to gain another member, and that's something. We should celebrate that. Oh, you're saying we have time to celebrate. I assume that means you've got leads for our bass player and drummer. No, I didn't. Our first lead, Toma, had taken a week to convince. With just over 2 weeks remaining, things were looking extremely tight. Toma-san, haven't we talked about that already? I know, I just want to have a full picture of the situation. If the plan is to perform at the school festival, we're in a tight spot. Just to be clear, our goal is to put on a successful show. Yes? Yes. Right. She's so serious about this, whereas I feel like Haruki and Takeya had just been like, yeah, we want to make a show, and she's like, okay, what are the steps to make a show? And then it's just crickets, like they don't really know how to make the show. Takeya didn't answer, trembling slightly. Pitiful. Alright, let me say this. Supposing we can't hope for new members, doing a show with our current formation will be impossible. We could do a less successful show, maybe, but that would miss the goal. Yes? Impossible, I guess. I feel like we should be able to do something with 4 people. Ogisa was right. We had gone to so much trouble to pull this group together. Kitahara, Ogiso, You're each half right. Huh? Half? With this formation, the show would be impossible. However, it might not be impossible with our current members. What does that mean? Oh, should I play the triangle? Oh no. If you don't remember, Kazusa was kind of not making fun of Setsuna, but she was like, you can't even play an instrument. Maybe you could play the triangle. And Setsuna's feelings got hurt, and now she's like, I could play the triangle. That won't be necessary, but it's along those lines. Hey, Chief? Huh? Oh, how may I help you? Evidently, Takeya had been spooked into politeness. Can you play the bass? At this question, every one of us, apart from Kazusa, blinked questioningly. Bass? Oh, well, I messed around with it a bit before I started the guitar. You're on bass from now on, then. Get your old sense of it back as quickly as possible. She glared at him again, making him flinch. She's the boss now, clearly. Takeya's no longer chief. Wait, Toma, why are we changing instruments at this point? If you're serious about this, it's our only option. He's got experience. There shouldn't be any problem. You and Ogiso can stick to what you're doing, of course, and I'll handle the drums. What? Toma's proposal seemed to come out of nowhere, catching me off guard. Why? Guitar, bass, drums, it can vary depending on the song, but if you want to have a proper band, these three are indispensable. Yes, having two guitars can change the gravity of the sound, which can help to cover up a lot, but without a bass, you can't keep rhythm. Good point, muttered Takeya in a faltering voice. Aw, and it would be hard for Haruki at this point to learn bass. Since he barely knows guitar, it would be hard for him to pick up a totally new instrument, so it does make sense. The keyboard gives greater breadth to the performance and bolsters the melody significantly, but that's a final addition, once all of the other necessary components have been gathered. Drums lay the foundation for everything, so without them, the sound turns unstable and unpleasant. Once you're on stage, all of that will be abundantly clear. Do you have an objection, Kitahara? You look dissatisfied. I'm not dissatisfied exactly. You're probably right, Toma. I was hoping you would play the keyboard, that's all. Kitahara-kun, you're a big fan of Toma-san's piano playing, aren't you? Yeah, I am. Gross. You could have said no. Gross. That's so cute. Toma huffed and looked away. You would think she would appreciate a compliment. She must just dislike me personally. Dude, you still can't see through this facade at this point after knowing Toma for so long. Of course she can't take a compliment. What do you expect her to be like? Oh, thanks. Wow, that's so nice. She would never do that. Anyway, this is how we're doing it. And you'll do everything I say, yes? Yes, that's what we agreed. I didn't really have any other choice. I wanted the show to be a success. Toma's intentions were absolute, and we did need a bass and drums. But on a personal level, I really had wanted Toma to play the keyboards. Keyboards? With an S? Her piano playing was what I had been hearing this whole time. So many times, as we played these sessions to either side of this wall, I had dreamed of what it would be like, sharing a stage with that piano sound. As if she read my thoughts, Toma muttered, well, if you find someone else to play the drums, I'll play the keyboard. Seriously? Oh, stop shouting. How many times do I have to remind you that your chances of finding someone are 0? Ugh, that was fair. This is so different than how it played out in the game. It is so interesting. In the game, Toma was like, oh yeah, Takeya, just program electronic drums and program electronic bass. And that was all it was. Like, it was super simple. But now, it's totally different. But drums, huh? I doubted we could get Okiso to learn how to play. Anyway, we're out of time as it is, so let's get to work. Chief, there's a bass right over there. Use it. Yeah. Hey, Toma. What? Takeya continued to flinch as he spoke. Do people use synths for this kind of thing? Synths? Ogiso tilted her head. Ah. The same idea seemed to have struck me and Toma at the same time. Synthesizers, of course. That was an option. I've programmed stuff before. I have the software on my computer. Synths, right. So now they're thinking about it. Now they're coming to that. Instead of Toma suggesting it, this time it's Takeya suggesting it. So that's an interesting difference. Toma appeared to be pondering something, a look of realization on her face. What? What are you talking about? Setsuna still had a questioning look, so I explained. To put it simply, it's a way of recording your performance in advance. You play it back during the show itself. Since you can record any instrument, you can easily fill in any gaps. Recording? Yes, maybe. It's not exactly just recording everything as it is. Strictly speaking, it's still a live performance. It's just a machine reading the score rather than a person. An automated performance, essentially. It felt a little bit like cheating, but it was a good idea. There was just one problem. Takeya, will you be able to do it in time? So here's the thing about a synth, though, is if you pre-program everything, right, and it's perfect, and then on stage, somebody misses a beat, or at worst misses a few beats, now the band is off sync with the synth, and you have to, you can't change it. You can't instantly change the performance. You just have to go back with the pre-programmed performance that you've already done. So it's a little hard in that sense. It's a little bit dangerous. But at this point, they don't really have any other choice. Programming took a good deal of time and work. It would have been one thing during summer break, but we had school going on now. And if we took too much time for that, we might not have enough left over to practice our actual performance. Yeah, about that, I'm thinking I might just work behind the scenes for this show. You mean not actually play on stage? Takeya? The one who wanted all eyes on him constantly? I've actually been thinking about this a bit ever since you brought Setsuna-chan in, Haruki, wondering whether there was anything I could do to help the show happen. Since the initial split-up was my fault anyway, he added, with a self-deprecating laugh. So I figured I might handle the synths. What do you think, Toma? Well, you're the chief. If that's what you want, do it. It would get things into shape, Toma muttered. Are you serious, Takeya? You can actually play the guitar. Why don't I handle things behind the scenes? For some reason, Toma and Ogiso both whipped around to look at me. What? Why? They both really want to perform with Haruki. This is so silly. This is such main character energy right here. No, Takeya sighed. If we let you do the programming, it could take forever. For all we know. That kind of tedious work isn't really my thing, but if it's what's best for the Light Music Club, I'll do it. Takeya, you're actually kind of cool today. Come on, Haruki, I'm always cool. More importantly, this means Toma can play the keyboard. Takeya gave a satisfied smile. He was right. We could program the drums in. In other words, Toma would be able to fight fully on her own field. I clenched my fists tightly. I'd done it. Now things were really going to happen. I was going to be able to play together with Toma's piano, with the neighbor I'd played with so many times. And on top of that, we had a fantastic vocalist, Ogiso. Oh, it's so happy. Everything's come together. Now they actually have a solid plan. And they actually have to start practicing because they have 2 weeks left before the show. Sure, we had barely any time before the show, but we would do it. We could realize this final hurrah of our high school careers. We had made it this far through miracle after miracle. With this momentum, we ought to be able to dash to the finish. As I suppressed the urge to scream, Ogiso beamed at me and said, "We can do this, right?" Yeah, we can. I smiled back, just short of yelling. This was because Ogiso had believed in me, because she had worked so hard. All of it was thanks to Ogiso, but I was too embarrassed to say that outright, so I just smiled with a heart full of gratitude. All right, now we just have to decide what we're going to play. Toma's words brought my attention to the next matter. Kitahara, how long is our time slot for the show? 20 minutes. That includes setup and tuning. That should fit about 2 songs then. We can't get greedy. 2 songs, huh? Well, we've already got one of them decided, right? Ogiso smiled. Decided? I tilted my head questioningly, but then, since Toma-san didn't play along with us yesterday, at that moment, it hit me. Toma and I reacted in unison, and Ogiso smiled again. Now that she mentioned it, there was no reason for us not to play it. That all-important song that connected the 3 of us. Huh? What? I feel like I'm out of the loop here. And the blank look on Takeya's face, the 3 of us couldn't help laughing. Even Toma let out an amused, heh. White Album. And it makes sense too, because they'd been practicing White Album. We know that everybody knows it. Haruki knows it on guitar, Ogiso's been practicing the vocals for it, and Toma knows it on piano. So, why not? Plus, it did bring the 3 of them together, you know that too. But practically, yes, it's a good song to do. From the look on Takeya's face when he heard the title, this explained everything. I guess it's the only song Haruki can play decently. I mean, barely, but... Oh, sorry for barely being able to play. I couldn't even deny that, which was the worst part. Will that work for you, Izuka-kun? Oh, yeah, of course. You said you want to do it, Setsuna-chan. How can I turn it down? For you, I'll program any. Another glare. Yes, that will work for me. Takeya deflated. His flinching resumed. No, he can't flirt like this within the band. It's not a good thing to do. That could definitely be a good song choice. Setsuna-chan's voice suits the vibe. It's a little old, but it's classic, so I bet everyone there will know it. Great, that's our first song settled. Okay, we'll go from White Album. Once we can play that, we'll think about the second song. Ogiso. Toma turned in Ogiso's direction. I heard more of your singing than I ever needed to the other day, but I want to hear it again. I'll play the piano along with you. All right. What an insult. What a sentence laced with this blatant insult, but she just chooses to ignore it. That's so funny. Ogiso nodded, and Toma sat down at the piano. Oh, hang on, I'll get ready. Oh, that's Haruki. Oh, hang on, I'll get ready. I hurriedly pulled out the guitar. No, you don't need to play along. Don't interrupt. Oof, so scalding. Toma didn't look at me as she spoke. Huh? You're too crummy to join yet. The room next door is free today. You can go practice in there. Ooh, why are we splitting up all of a sudden? After we'd brought everyone together like this, Toma gave a small shake of her head as though she had read my thoughts. A band where the guitar is the weakest link. I mean, it's true, but dang. Okay, fine, just watch me. I'll play for 10 hours a day. Well, yeah, that's the standard. I felt like crying. Also, Toma being an internationally famous piano player's daughter, she is used to this brutal practice. And she's a very upfront and brutal person anyway. So she's going to lay it on thick as far as practice goes for Haruki. She's not going to sugarcoat anything. I guess I'll head home and pull the synth out of my closet, Takeya said, clapping me on the shoulder. I have a synth at my house that's easy to use. I can send you the equipment. Oh, could you? Mine is falling apart. I gave another look at our members. Ogiso, who was already doing vocal exercises. Toma, who was clacking her nails on the keyboard, and Takeya, who was talking with her about synths. The light music club had been on the cusp of ending, but now it was coming alive. All right. I made up my mind to give it everything I had. If I did everything I could, miracles would come after. Kitahara-kun? What, Kitahara? Haruki? The three of them looked at me as though there was something on my face. Oh, no, nothing. Let's do this. At this out-of-character exclamation, Toma snorted and Takeya remarked, "You've got the most work to do out of any of us." But Ogiso simply said, "All right," and that was encouragement enough for me to pick up the guitar and head to the next room over. Oh, he's motivated. He's gonna do his best. I mean, that must have been super painful to hear, but it's also truthful. So now it's the time where he needs to prove himself. Okay. As the song ended, Kazusa stopped playing and gave a small nod. Whew, you really are amazing at the piano, Toma-san. This is normal, Kazusa mumbled. Setsuna couldn't help but smile. I think a lot of people would feel pretty bad about themselves if that were considered normal. What about you? How did you develop that? It's hard to believe you could sing like that without any voice training. Well, as you are aware, Toma-san, I am very fond of karaoke. Yeah, you do way too much of it. I guess that's a godsend in this situation, though. Hey, tell me honestly, what do you think of my voice? Though it made her anxious, she had to ask. It's a very daring thing to ask, too, considering how brutal she is on Haruki, to want to find out her opinion about your vocals as an amateur. Well, for an amateur, it's very good. There are a few things I could teach you, but 2 weeks should be enough. You'll be able to go on stage without any problems. Really? Oh, I'm so glad. Setsuna was genuinely thrilled to have received this seal of approval. She knew how nice it felt to have her singing voice praised. One person had already done it. But with this co-signing by such an expert advisor, a feeling of reassurance joined that happiness. The relief of knowing that, if she worked at it, she could use her voice to help him. They're so helpless. They're so head over heels already. Thank you for deciding to play the keyboard for us, Toma-san. Kitahara-kun seemed thrilled, didn't he? It's for the band, not him. I'm better at playing the drums than most people, too. It's not about that. I don't care about his opinions. Kazusa scowled and looked away, causing Setsuna to sigh yet again. Why did she have to be so stubborn? But, wow, I never knew we could program stuff. Really, it's basically cheating, but it's what we've got. Our lineup is too lopsided to play everything ourselves. On top of that, you need bass and drums for White Album, not to mention a saxophone. At that moment, it finally hit Setsuna. The saxophone played a prominent role in White Album, in the middle and at the end. It leapt out from the main melody, soaring, swelling, adding new color to the whole song. And if you've heard White Album, the song itself, yes, you cannot take out the saxophone. You would have to skip like an entire melody, and it would just be strange. It would take away a big part of it, like the strawberries off a strawberry shortcake. That saxophone part is really nice. It has to be there to make it work. We can cover that with the synth too, though. Whether it goes well depends on your club chief's speed and accuracy in programming. If worst comes to worst, I guess you could do it like a folk song, like I mentioned, with just guitar and singing. You wouldn't have me there, though. By the way, Toma-san, when will we be able to rehearse with Kitahara-kun? Oh, good question. Kazusa opened the window, and the sound of his guitar drifted in on the breeze. There's still far to go. Oh, Setsuna forced a smile, feeling faintly anxious. There was so little time left. Would they be able to pull it together? She shook her head. He would be able to do it. She knew he would, because she believed in him. She's such a good person. All right, we will stop this episode for today. Thank you so much for being here for White Album 2's Light Novel Series Volume 1, and I'll be back with the next part shortly. So until then, hope you take care. See you.